All right, it's almost Easter, and got a new project here for the summer. Didn't do much over the winter. Kind of cold in here, and I'm getting a little bit not so liking the cold as much as I could stand it before. I never liked cold, but anyway, it's getting a little bit warmer now. It's about 60 degrees today. It's not too bad. But this engine right here is what's called the 4602. Now you might see that on my train name, 4602. That's what the number of this engine is, and the new owner now still keeps that number, which is nice. That number, in case you're interested, when I worked at Dealer Valve Turbine, they give you a badge number, and my number was 4602. So that's why I named it this, and I use that as a screen name number. But anyway, this engine was my very first. It's basically a little engine specific, and I tapered the boiler. See, now this is only a 9.5-inch diameter, and if I had to do over again, I would have made it a 10-inch or 10.5. It's like the K4 is like 10.5. So that's another inch bigger, half-inch all the way around, which makes a big difference when it comes to the boiler. You can get more flues in it. This is now the second boiler. The original boiler on here, this engine was built 74 to 76, and it was running in 76. This boiler, the original boiler here was on this engine, is gone. It rusted through, and the owner now had a new boiler built for it, and took him a while to get it running, but he got it back together, and it was running for a while, and I was able to have another opportunity to run it after a lot of years. And what happened, unfortunate accident, this whole engine fell off the stand, not this particular stand, but one of his stands. It just fell off somehow. I don't know how that happened, but it squashed the smoke box. It bent a lot of stuff up. And the big problem was, and that could have been all cosmetic, it's all cosmetic. The big problem was the cradle. It broke the cradle, and we got a new casting here, right here. And the original, wow, that thing's heavy. The original cradle was aluminum. That's the way Little Engines sent it to me. And this one now, from the new Little Engines, is a bronze one. Originally, back in the day, they were cast iron, but I got to machine that up to match the other one. It's broken. Right in here, it's broken. And there's no way you can fix it. And quite honestly, this engine needs a little bit of maintenance. A lot of things wrong. And we're going to repair them and replace some of the piping and bring it up to date and get it back in shape again. You need to fix the lead truck. You can't probably see it in the picture here, but this engine is nosing down a little bit. So what that means is you got to pull back on the front and up here, get on the front. Now he probably took them out, because I know he took these drivers out one time or another. Shims underneath the saddles. I remember doing that, and that brought it up. Somehow they got lost. I don't know what's going on. The big issue with little engines is now a normal locomotive, they have 4, 8, 10 drivers, 22 drivers. How many drivers you got? Each one has an individual, under each journal box has an individual pedestal binder strap that you can take off 2 to 4 bolts, the other side 2 to 4 bolts, and drop that down and pull that driver out. Little Engines design, it should, maybe now they make a one-piece frame, which would be the way to go. A lot of people make the frame to match the centers, but it's a one piece, and that's really the way to go. But the way this was designed, it's bar stock, 3/4 on the top, 3/4 by 3/4 on the top, 1/2 inch by 3/4 on the bottom that goes across all 3 drivers. Plus, in between here, the spring equalizers, the spring equalizers are attached to that bar. And it's very, very difficult to drop one driver out. I have to drop the back driver out because to get to the bolts in this area here, where this goes into a pocket and it goes into this area here. There's probably about 15 bolts go in this area. Why so many, I don't know, but I can't get them out. Furthermore, the new little engines beef this up. It's just a little thicker, which is good. However, now the ash pan won't fit in between here anymore. So I have to fix that and quite a few other things. The piping, this, like I said, was my first engine. I used a lot of compression fittings and real stuff like that, and that's not really a good idea. But it ran well over the years, but now it's what, 44 years later, 43, whatever, 44, 43 years, and it needs a little bit of TLC. And I'm glad I got it here to work on, and we're going to bring it back to life and get it all in shape again. It needs a new cab. The cab was destroyed. I got a cab down here. The lead truck, I found out years ago that the lead trucks on little engines really should have been wider. And we've corrected that on engines that were built after this one that I built. I made them, instead of 9.5 between centers, I made them 10 inches. That shot the front wheel out a little bit, so when it goes around a turn, it doesn't actually turn like this. It kind of swings, and it gave enough room so it didn't hit the cylinder heads. Plus, this fact that this is nosing down, because I believe that the shims came out underneath there. So whoever did this, I guess the owner. Well, first of all, what I did is I took the pivot. I'll get this thing here and show you. I took the pivot and I moved this back probably 1/4 of an inch. So that made the front wheel go out further. Plus, I noticed that the new owner turned the wheels down almost 1/4 of an inch on the OD, which is great for the clearance. However, it's 1/8 of an inch, so that's dropping the front down more. So you don't realize that, you know? The front drops down more. So that has to be repaired. And I got this on Wednesday, and we discussed it with the owners. And they didn't want me to take the boiler off, and I think that's the reason is because they're concerned about if the piping goes back the same. Well, it's going to be going back the same, but new piping. I have to put some new piping on it. I probably use some of the old piping, but the fittings are all compression type fittings, and the older unions that were like didn't have they have the round rather than being able to put an 8-sided union where you can tighten them. These are hexagonal, and there's no place to put a wrench on the two pieces that butt, not the nut, and it spins. So we might change some of those. There's some issues going on here in the throttle, all inside here. Need to fix that. This here feed water heater actually works, but when it fell, because it was already thin here to begin with, then this was not original. The owner did that, which is a good idea. He put that in there, opened that up with, I guess, with a bandsaw or something, but that weakened all of this. So this kind of went out around in here. But another repairman fixed that, which is good. Pilot was broken off. That's been fixed, but it's crooked. I got to fix that. The steps are all screwed up. They got to be fixed. Pump's bent. That's got to be fixed. The pump bracket, got to fix that. Like I mentioned, the ash pan. One lubricator on the other side is not working, and the injector and some of the pipes back there, the feed, the hoses, all that hose clamp stuff. That's for the birds. You got to do some more substantial fittings back there, and I don't use quick disconnects. They're restrictive, and there's absolutely no need to quickly disconnect your engine. On the K4, the right here, this cover, you see a little bit of it there in the picture. That's the K4 tender. It has fittings, screwed fittings. They're large unions that Superscale used to sell, and now PM Research sells one that's similar, a little bigger. And you use those, and you never have a problem. They just go right up, you tighten them up, and you're good to go. You really don't need to quickly disconnect the locomotive. Now, some of the big boys and some of the Challengers and these articulated engines are longer than the transfer tables at some clubs. So in that case, I understand that maybe you got to make a quick disconnect to get the tender and engine apart on a temporary basis till you get down off the transfer table. That makes sense. But to quickly disconnect an engine, it's not necessary. I can connect this up, maybe not as quick as you go click like that, but those little quick disconnects that they sell, unless you get a big one, which looks ugly, they're restrictive. They only have a 3/16 hole going through them. And if you're going to put a 5/16 piped up injector with a 3/16 hole in it, you're restricting it. So why do that? It's not necessary. It's not necessary to quickly disconnect your locomotive. So keeping that in mind, you will not have quick disconnects on this engine. Unless he puts them on, I think that's a foolish thing to do. The cylinders, the lubricators, my opinion is they always should go right directly into the cylinders, especially on these engines right here. These are slide valve cylinders. They're simulated piston valve. There's a slide valve in here, and you want to put that oil right on top of that. He's got one up here, and the other side, I don't know, but the lubricators need to be worked on and get those corrected. And, of course, general cleanup and so on, paint. Some detail. I'm not going to go nuts on the detail. If he wants me to, I'll have to do it next year. But I'm trying to get this engine running sometime this summer. If I had gotten it earlier in the year, I would have been able to get it for the spring meet of PLS, which is Memorial Day. But that's not going to happen. There's no way I can do it and do the job right. So, the 4602 has come back to New Jersey, to Trenton, New Jersey, where it was originally built, in my father's basement, and I had to make a special rig to get it up out of the basement steps, which I did, and never went back there again, and I ran it for a long time at Jersey Club, a long time, until I got the Camelbacks running, then we ran those. But this engine kind of sat for quite a few years, and then I sold it to this fellow that owns it now, and he still owns it, and getting it back in shape. It's a shame that happened, but we can get it back in shape. We'll get it together. It'll be fine when it's done. So, I noticed that one of my videos now is going over 750,000 views. Don't ask me how that happened, but I'm happy about it, and it's given me encouragement to make more videos. And what I plan on doing is make a Patreon account. And in that manner, I'll be getting some support to help me make more videos, and more important videos like, look, there's plenty of guys out there doing machine shop videos. Adam, A-Bomb guy, he does nice videos. Mr. Pete, my buddy out over there in Illinois, he's making great videos. But I thought what I would do is make videos particularly for live steam, how to do a driver, how to make cylinders, how to machine this and that, particularly targeting live steam. So, keeping that in mind, hopefully I'll get this Patreon account going. It'll help me make some more videos, give me the time, instead of working in the shop and having to make, ends meet. I'll be able to work through Patreon and get more content to my videos, and there'll be more of them coming. I've got 265 of them now. And I want to get some new ones with the new camera. Some of the old ones, they're not HD. But anyway, that's about it for now. Look forward to making more videos. Look forward to the rebuild of the 4602. I'm going to show it, progress goes along, talk about what I did, talk about what to do, what not to do. And these are just my opinion. They're not set in stone. It's things that I've done on my locomotives, and it's been proven to me that they work. So I continue on to say that. Maybe something else for you will work. There's more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak. But anyway, the 4602 will come to life again, hopefully this summer, and it'll be running for another 40 years. So, thanks for watching all my videos. Please subscribe. Please join the Patreon, and we'll see you again on the next video.